Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Kalica and today we're going to be getting into some malicious compliance. Complain about my covered driving facing camera? Fine, I'll uncover it. Shared with permission from another driver that doesn't use Reddit. It's too good not to share. Dash cams. They are both our best friend and worst nightmare. Depending on your company, these cameras can either save your ass or be a tool for micromanagement. Dare to take a sip of water on a 500-mile trip? You best bet you're getting a phone call. These cameras face both outside and inside of the truck and record any time the key is turned over. For me, I'm a local so I'm home nightly, and most normal drivers, this really isn't an issue since we don't live in the vehicle. But for my friend Linda, not her real name, this isn't the case. Linda is a team driver. Her and her teammate share a truck. They go 500 miles from the main hub, drop their trailer, and then the same day come back. She lives in that truck from Monday evening until Friday or Saturday night. That camera would be like having a camera in your bedroom with a bunch of creepy men on the other side of it just watching. Well, my friend Linda is a bit paranoid and will typically toss her hat over the camera when they're sitting in the yard just waiting for the trailer for a few hours. Her and her teammate at this point are typically sleeping, so there's zero need for the camera to be on anyway. In the summertime they turn the truck off, but most of the year here it's better just to let the truck idle. Then the company started calling her. Why? To complain about her hanging her hat on the dashcam so she could have a couple of hours of privacy while literally sitting in the yard and not moving. Keep in mind that if she did move, that they see it on the front facing camera and on the electronic log that automatically flips if the wheels are rolling. Also, keep in mind that in those hours, her partner typically drove the 5 miles home in his personal vehicle for a shower. Here's where the malicious compliance comes in. This is also exactly how she tells the story, so it's mostly in her words. Linda is not a spring chicken. She's been trucking a long time and has lots of experience on the road and dealing with these companies. She's also lost over 200 pounds, and so there are lots of parts of her body that just hang. So if these creeps want to see what she's doing when she parks for the night, she'll show them. She went to the back of the lot, accidentally left the curtain kinda open, and changed her clothes. She made sure she did it nice and slow too. By some miracle, they stopped complaining about her or any other driver covering their cameras when they are parked. Smoke breaks are only for smokers? Deal. Conversation at work yesterday reminded me of this one. Back in the year 2000, I was working at a Royal Burger place, damn near full time while in high school. Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays 5 to 10 PM, Fridays and Saturdays 10 to 7 AM, and Sundays 12 to 7 PM when needed. Friday and Saturday was his maintenance, the rest of the time was his kitchen, primarily as the one feeding burgers and buns through the broiler and then into the steamer. I had moved into maintenance split about 4 to 5 months in, which caused issues with getting my reviews at 6 and 12 months, but that's another rant. I was one of 3 maintenance people for 5 locations. The standard practice around here was that as supper rush was starting, we'd lose 4 people that went out back to smoke, including the shift manager, and leave 3 of us scrambling for 15 minutes. I complained and was told that there is a smoke break allowed every hour, nothing says that it has to be a fixed time. First off, I just went out with the smokers for 5 minutes and was told by the same shift manager that it was only for smokers and not just a general break. Fine by me. Malicious compliance time. The next shift with her, I walked out with him as supper rush was starting and lit one up. All of a sudden she's screaming at me to get back in and get the burgers in the broiler. Sorry, but I get a smoke break every hour and they can be in any time in that hour like you told me. Or were we all going back in? All of a sudden we have a new rule posted in the break room, and on the back door, only 2 smokers outside at any given time and not between 5 to 7 PM. The pack of smokes was lasting me about 3 to 4 weeks. I only smoked when I was at work and I wanted a 5-minute break for the remainder of my time there. That same shift manager gave me a dirty look every time I walked back in, every time we worked together after that. Quick edit. For anyone wondering, I only smoked at work and didn't have any habit when I left. I enjoy the occasional cigar or cigarette, but when I mean occasional, I mean occasional. I couldn't tell you when I had my last. Manager told me I was fired as a joke, so I quit. Hopefully this is the right r/script to post this in. I know it's not as good as most other stories, but enjoy. I worked for a car dealership as a lot porter. I had gotten into an accident that totaled my car right as I was purchasing a house, which led to a predicament because you don't want to buy a new car while buying a house. Shortly after buying the house, I found a different job in a field I love. So I put in my 2 weeks notice, and then I went and bought a car from a different dealership because my wife wanted a specific car that my dealership didn't sell. I also knew how slimy the one I worked for was. A few days after the purchase of both house and car, one of the sales managers asked me if I was ready to buy a car from him. I didn't disclose the fact to anyone that I bought from a different dealer. I informed him I had already bought one. So he looks at me in the most serious face and asks if I want to pack my things, basically because I wasn't loyal to this dealership. Knowing I had already had a better job that was able to start me immediately, I said sure, and turned and walked away to pack my things. He then realised I wasn't going to put up a fight, so he immediately started laughing and told me he was joking, and how they would never fire someone for going somewhere else. But I already knew a few people that had gotten fired for that exact reason. I told him I don't appreciate being fired as a joke, because I do have a 1.5-year-old, and if I didn't have a job lined up, he could have seriously hurt me financially. But I ended up leaving feeling relieved because this was not a good job. The funny thing is, he calls me about 30 to 45 minutes after I left because I had left keys to multiple brand new trucks in my desk that had to have the plastic removed and get parked. Turns out, since he had fired me, they made him take care of the stuff. I am now fully enjoying my new job with the best bosses I've ever had. I know I probably took it too far, but I don't regret it. Edit. There was a few good sales managers that really cared, and I don't want to throw them under the bus, but the job got too tiring because of the bad ones. I hope this made sense as I'm writing this when I'm so freaking exhausted and sick. Oh, I hope you feel better, OP. Boss did not like the look of the bulk mailing stamp, told me to remove it. Cost the company over $220,000. Back in the 1980s, I worked for a sporting goods company as a catalogue designer. Small company, privately owned. I was the entire advertising department. I created 4 catalogues a year. These were responsible for most of our mail order sales, pre-internet, to the tune of around $700,000 a year. We sent the catalogues via bulk mail using a mailing service. This let us send them for a much discounted rate. To do this required the use of a bulk mail permit and placing the permit information on a mailing area of the catalogue. Technically, it's called a fitch. Fitch. Enter a new boss. Call him Ron. I was number 1, the only one in my department. For some reason, the company owner hired Ron as a favour to a friend. From day 1 he was micromanaging, questioning everything, and screwing up my very tight schedule. This was before computers were common. Everything was by hand, literally typing out copy and reducing it on a photocopier to fit, developing the photo film myself, making prints, etc. The actual printer had to add screens to the photo so they'd print, burn metal plates and so on. All time consuming and expensive. Deadlines could not be missed, so I was stuck with several 16-hour days come crunch time. I was complaining to the owner, but he couldn't really care less. I really wanted to stick it to Ron and the opportunity presented itself. Constant threats of, my way or you're fired, were getting to me. The latest pre-summer catalogue was done. Summer was our big season. I had to give him my mock-up, photocopied sheet stapled together, of the final catalogue for his approval. A new step added after he demanded it. He looked at it and sent it back with several pointless revisions, and a note to remove that ugly permit box because it wasn't needed. Where he worked previously stuffed their mailers in envelopes, the envelopes had the fitch, and their mailer did this last step. I simply asked him to initial the changes as this was the final approved version and was going to the printer the next day. There was no time to check it again. So he did. I knew it would be a total mess and it's something I would never have done in the past. 50,000 catalogues printed and shipped out directly to the mailer. The day they arrive at the mailer, the boss gets a call from the sales rep. We can't mail your catalogues. The boss storms into my area of the building and is literally screaming. Ron is now pissed and yelling at me, joined by the boss. I swear, spittle and froth, vein bulging screaming. Minimum of a 2-week delay, wasted money, lost sales. I explained what happened, the threat to fire me, and showed the owner the changes to the final copy, initialed by Ron. He was going to give Ron a second chance until the bill came in from the printer. They had to stamp 50,000 catalogues by hand. We had to rent their permit since that's what was on the stamp. Rental and labour was almost $8,000. Adjusted for inflation, that's $20,000. Plus our early summer sales boost was off by almost $50,000 from previous years, or $200,000 adjusted for inflation. Ron was fired, and I was left alone after that. Okay, so that's all for r/MaliciousCompliance. I really hope you did enjoy it. As always, if you do want to see more content like this, then please do subscribe. Any support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!